candidates who are running for the United States Senate, certainly the county exec here in Cuyahoga County. If Blacks come out and vote, they can determine who wins and loses those races. And it's important for Black voters to understand their power. When they stay home, we are powerless. But when we go out and vote, we make the difference in terms of who gets elected. And what that means is we make the difference in determining whether or not our agenda and our issues that are important to us actually get addressed. And so historically, midterm elections are tough in the Black community. We do real good at presidential cycles, and then we fall off after we done, we think we've done our duty after we voted for president. But we got to make sure that we're voting for the state elected leaders, local elected leaders, all the way down to school board, city council, judge, everybody. Everybody matters because all of those people are making decisions about what happens in our families, in our lives, and in our communities every single day.
Okay, that's what's up. That is on point. That is facts. So your organization doesn't lean towards neither party, because a lot of people, some people are mad at the Republican Party, of course. Some people are mad at the Democratic Party, of course. And a lot of African Americans feel like, well, their vote doesn't matter. So, is your organization bipartisan?
We are not what you call bipartisan. We are actually nonpartisan. So we don't advocate for the election or defeat of any particular candidate. We are more concerned about priorities and issues that may impact our community. Our organization, we've been doing work in a nonpartisan way under the banner of the Ohio Unity Coalition in Ohio for several election cycles now. And again, we've been exposed to some polling, Larry, that the NAACP actually did. They've been doing some really great polling with of Black voters in these battleground states, these so-called battleground states, Ohio being one of them. And what we learned is that Black voters don't believe that neither the Democrat nor the Republican Party are parties that are addressing needs that they care about. And so the work that my organization has to do is to get them to at least put something on the table, right? Put something on the table, and then see who picks it up and runs with it to get it done. And when we don't do that, and the way we do that is with our votes, and that's why voting in every election is so very important. If we don't make any demands, we're not going to get anything, any resolve to the issues that are plaguing us. And we make those demands right now when people are running for office. You hold them accountable after they get in, but you make the demand while they're running.
Right. So how long has your organization been in place?
So
when did it start? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we've been incorporated in the state of Ohio as a 501c3, which is a nonprofit tax status by the IRS since 2019. But we've been doing work around Ohio in elections under the sponsorship of our national organizations. So that work goes all the way back, for real, back to the 1980s when we launched something called Operation Big Vote. And that operation project, that Get Out the Vote project, was really huge here in Cleveland, Ohio. And it really worked to turn out candidates voters who were back in the 1980s. And so we've been around a long time, not doing that work in that same way and associated to the national coalition. But this new Ohio Unity Coalition piece that we're now have reignited, so to speak, has been really doing work in Ohio since 2005. And we really concentrate on making sure that we're touching Black voters in Columbus, in Cleveland, in Cincinnati, in Toledo, in Youngstown, in Dayton. We've even done some work in Akron, Ohio, in Lorain, Lima, over in Warren, wherever Black folks are that's what the work that we've been doing. And we do that starting with voter registration. I was at a rally earlier this year, and it was reported that according to the 2021 census, that in Ohio, there are 569,000 Blacks who are eligible to be registered to vote, but are unregistered, meaning they are at least 18 years or older, but they have not taken the step to register, to get registered to vote. We probably ain't gonna get to all 569,000 of them in this election cycle, but our teams have been going out doing door knocks, making phone calls. We have a QR code, trying to get people to scan the code to check their status to see if they're on the rolls, and if they're not, giving them an opportunity to register, because nobody has a lot of time to run down to the Board of Elections and get themselves registered. And so we try to be out in the neighborhood talking to people and getting them to take that step.
Okay, and it brings up the event that you have going on at speaking of, since you are on Shaker Square, talk about the event that's going on tomorrow.
Yeah, so in conjunction with our national organization, we are launching Power of the Ballot Comedy Tour and a weekend of organizing to energize Black voters. This is a tour that's kicking off in Ohio, and it's a final 30-day get out the vote push to maximize Black voter influence in key swing states ahead of the midterm elections. And that includes here in Ohio. We have a lineup of comedians under the featuring Michelle, in the indie mom of comedy. She's bringing in some of her sister friends from around the state. About 3 of them plus her are coming in, and they're just going to give us like 2 hours of the power of the ballot. They just want to kind of make us feel good, get us revved up so that we can get into this last 30-day stretch. And then some other comedians heard that they were coming into Cleveland. Somebody by the name of Miss Kim Cole, and you all know her. She has decided that she wants to hook up with us here in Cleveland. So we are pleased that Kim Cole will be joining us tomorrow, making a guest appearance along with Michelle and the other sister queens that she's bringing with her for the Power of the Ballot evening of comedy nights. And it's going to be powerful. Our national CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and convener of the Black Women's Roundtable, Melanie Campbell, will be here to welcome these comedians here to Cleveland. We're going to be at the Atlas Cinemas Theater at Shaker Square. And in order to get in here, you got to go to ready.vote and register, because they have capacity. If y'all know anything about Atlas Cinemas, y'all know it's not a 500 seat theater. We've got about 200 seats that we're trying to fill up here. It's a free admission if you register using that link that I just told you. We got some t-shirts we're giving away, got some light refreshments, and we want people to also consider volunteering with the work that we're doing so that we can get this vote out over these next 30 days.
Okay, so you said ready, that's READY .vote, VOTE?
Yes, ready.vote, and hit the button, help get out the vote. And if you get in before we reach capacity, you will secure your seat for the comedy show tomorrow, and hopefully you'll come back out and also volunteer for maybe one of our phone bank opportunities, or even Canvas. And this tour, when it leaves Ohio, Larry, it's going on to Detroit and Kalamazoo, Michigan. And then when it leaves there, it's going on to Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then when it leaves there, it's headed down south to Orlando, Florida, and then on to Atlanta, Georgia. So we're part of a national tour. We're the first to kick it off. And we hope that people will come out and support the power of the ballot and evening of comedy.
Okay, and how and the event, when does it start? When does it end?
The doors will open at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow evening. The show the opening act or opening introductions will start around 7 and we'll go until 9 or until they have to carry us out of there because we'll be in stitches from laughing so hard.
Right, exactly. Until they carry you out there. Especially Kim Coles. Yeah, I
Oh, yeah.
understand.
She's funny.
Right, right. So the thing about it is that what made you start this comedy tour? And because a lot of people, you know, like I vote, don't get something for nothing. They always ask me to register, ask me for the address, you know, we got the gerrymandering, the redlining, things of that nature. So what made you start this comedy tour?
Yeah, so we actually, I was in Las Vegas at a conference, me and the national Melanie Campbell and some of the other state affiliates. Our organization is one of 9 affiliates across the country doing the kind of work that I just described. And we were just sitting there saying, how are we going to get people enthusiastic about this midterm election? We understood very clearly that this midterm election, people have to come out at levels that they came out at least in 2018 in order for us to have any kind of impact about who gets elected to office. And we were thinking, and we had just left, Michelle, the indie mom, is on, she actually does artistic work in partnership with the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and the Black Women's Roundtable. And we had just, were planning for the Black Women's Roundtable, and Michelle in February, we went into Washington, D.C., and she always closes out our conference, and she had us in stitches. And we thought, why don't Michelle, it would be great if Michelle could come and go around the country and tell some of her stories that she shares with us that has us all cracking up. And we was like, yeah, comedy is good for the soul. We need some joy. Doing this work is hard. Trying to get voters organized and mobilized to go out and vote when people are telling you, my vote don't matter, I don't want to register to vote, I voted, I'm not voting again. That's exhausting. And so the comedy tour is designed to kind of be a pick-me-up for all of us and get people to understand, yeah, the issue of politics can be heavy, but we can bring some light and some life into it. And we wanted to do that with comedy. And so that's why we're happy that we are actually the first leg of the tour that is launching this particular Power of the Ballot Evening of Comedy.
All right. So as a lot of organizations, you know, calling about mobilizing the vote, you know, you got the Republicans, you got the Democrats doing it, everybody doing it. I mean, some people say it may be, you know, other organizations that are nonpartisan like yourselves doing it. So what is your, but I've never heard of anybody throwing a comedy tour. Usually it's the candidates talking about stuff. So, you know, what sets your organization apart from the rest of either the parties or these other organizations that are doing?
Because we really are trying to tap in and hear and understand. When we're on the doors, knocking on the doors and canvassing in our neighborhoods, we're asking potential voters, what what's some issues that you care about that you think that the candidates aren't even talking about? And that's a good opening for us. And those people begin to open up and share with us what is really going on. People, one of the things, Larry, and I've been doing this work a long time. And the reason I feel so passionate about it, when I first started doing it, I went back to a neighborhood that I grew up in as a little girl. And one of the ladies, when we were going out and knocking on the door, she said, nobody ever comes back here to this neighborhood and ask us what we think or how we feel. And I was like, you mean to tell me the Democratic Party doesn't ask you? They haven't come out and talked to you. The Republican Party hasn't come and talked to you. The candidate hasn't come and asked you how you feel. What things do you care about? What issues are important to you? They said no. And so I think it's important for us, activists who are activists within the party structure, it's important for us to go back and make sure that we have those kinds of conversations with the voters in the community. And we hope that at least giving them the attention that they desire that they will view us as authentic because we are genuinely concerned about what issues they care about.
Mm-hmm. I understand that, and a lot of people the reason why some people do not want to participate is because they feel like that they're not individual, but maybe what their neighborhood needs to be met. It could be anything from healthcare, crime, education, career opportunities, higher wages, healthcare. There's somebody would be mad about, what about my street? My street got potholes, it's like potholes as big as moon craters, and everybody wants my vote, but nobody's trying to fix my street, the light posts being broken. So a lot of people understand. So you taking the time out to talk to them is very, very important. So besides the comedy and voter awareness, tomorrow's event, what else do you want to bring back?
I want people to know we are starting out at 10 o'clock in the morning. We have a staging location over 22034 Lakeshore Boulevard. And if they want to go out and go talk to some voters in the one of the wards that we have as our focus is Ward 7. We're going to go out and we're going to knock on some doors and talk to some folks. And that includes the team that is here from the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, as well as some of the local activists who have stepped up to do that work. And we would invite you, if you can't come with us tomorrow, just check us out. You can go to, again, www.ready.vote and hit that help get out the vote button. We will capture your information and then we will circle back with you about potential other opportunities to either get on the phone, make some phone calls, or go knock on some doors.
Okay. So we know that early, so you just in time, early voting starts in here October 12th, Wednesday, October 12th. The election is November 8th. What are the opportunities for people to engage after, I say the blood's been shed, the winners and the losers are picked in November 8th? What do you, because out of that it's Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and things of that nature. Do you do work all year round, or you just do it during the election cycles?
No, we've been actually trending as a 365-day organization that we don't want to just do this work at election cycle. And some of the resources that it takes to do this work, we've been able to convince a number of people that we have to have sustainability and capacity. It doesn't make sense to go out and mobilize these voters for an election and then not talk to them again for another 2 years or 4 years, right? Mm-hmm. We need sustainability. And so a part of what our focus is to make sure we can be there for these voters even after the election it has gone away. And so some of the coordinators that are coordinating this work have committed to continue to be out there doing some level of engagement even after November 8th with voters who come out and participate. Some of the canvassers that are going out and knocking doors have committed that they want to stay engaged. And we are going to work really hard this time to make sure that we are engaging our community after this election and on into the future.
Okay. So that's the main thing. The key is that when the dust settles, if one party wins, the other party loses, and the voters is like, well, I did my part, and then after a while, it's like the voters are asking, what's going on? What's happening with, things are not changing, it's maybe been a couple of months, we got to, out of that, we got swearing in ceremonies and, the new candidates or the older candidates, who won re-election. We also got judges. That's the most important. I think that's the most important race, judges, because, they decide the law. So it's, a lot of people feel like, hey, we're being ignored again after, we turned out. So and people who are dedicated. So what do you say to those people about organizations that just, hey, they got our vote, now what? Those voters.
Larry, we work in coalition. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, we work in coalition with groups like the Panhandle Greek organizations, the NAACP, faith groups, the Masons, and we all at the leadership level are committed to making sure that we stay engaged and we stay in front of these voters. And so we're going to commit to these voters that we will be around after the election is over with. That we will continue to get information to our community in a timely manner so that they can respond when issues come out that they either don't agree with or that they can have a voice on issues that they do agree with. And we're going to commit to doing that work in coalition with our partners who are part of helping to get out the vote. We're going to work together to make sure that we can make sure that we keep the heat on, so to speak, and keep people interested in how they can raise their voice, even in the policy discussions that are taking place.
Okay. So really just you know, like just like the reason I do these shows is to pick the brain of the people who have done it. So the main, when you go on, when you have somebody go out and canvas and make a phone call, what do you tell the people? What's the first thing that you ask? Well, besides their name and information, what is a thing you know, ask?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends on what we want to ask, and we mainly we're asking people: are they planning to vote? We're asking people what issues are important to them. We're asking people: do they need any assistance getting their vote cast in the election? We're giving out information about what happens if they have challenges voting at the polls. We have a 866 hour vote number that people can tap into if they have problems on election day, and just making sure that people know where they can go to get help, making sure people know exactly what's going on election day so that they can make sure that their vote is counted. So it's a number of things, and it just depends on what we want to say. Right now, we're collecting information, so we're surveying people and asking them about the issues. We're asking them if they're planning to vote. We're asking them, do they need it? We're asking them, do they know their polling location? We're asking them to make a plan to vote in the midterm election, because life gets in the way. And thank goodness in Ohio, we have 29 days of early voting. And hopefully people will take the time to vote one of those 29 days or go to the polls and vote on November 8th.
Okay. So you don't care about who they vote for or what issues. You just care about them getting their bodies in the voting booth, correct?
Important. Participation is half the battle, right? If half the voters stay home, that means the other half gets to determine how it's made, right? But what issues are important. For our community, it is always lagging behind participation for the non-Black community. But 10, 15 and against the getting their issues decided.
Okay. You're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up just a little bit, trying to. All right. So we'll be right back with PD Talley here on Headlines Headaches on voiceradio.com. Taking a slight intermission. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Larry H. Gardner, host of Headlines and Headaches on voiceradio.com. Fentanyl is the leading cause of drug overdose deaths in Cuyahoga County.
It is now found in powdered cocaine, crack cocaine, meth, and heroin. Any drug may contain fentanyl. If you use drugs, never use alone, and carry Narcan in case of overdose. Call the Adams Board 24-hour addiction line and mental health crisis hotline at area code 216-623-6888. That's 216-623-6888 if you are ready for help.
Hey, this is your girl, Laura Cowan of Laura Cowan's Empowerment Hour. Check me out every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. live right here on voiceitradio.com.
Hi, I'm Lillian Piles.
And I'm Harry Boomer.
Join us every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be covering all aspects of theater, film, and the performing arts right here from Northeast Ohio.
We will also tell you about what national major productions are coming to town. Don't miss Backstage with Lillian Piles and Harry Boomer every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on voiceitradio.com.
Here at Voice It Radio, we need a quality printing service. So for superior quality printing and great customer service, there is only one place to go, and that's Groovy Print. Groovy Print is the perfect printing company for the entrepreneur and small business owner. Groovy Print provides free UPS ground shipping anywhere in the USA. If you need small print orders under 500 units, yard signs, banners, and more, Groovy Print has you covered. Visit the website at groovyprint.com today or call 216-240-3553. Once again, that's GRUVYPRINT.com or call 216-240-3553.
You there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Okay,
Okay.
now we back.
Now
All
we
right,
back.
so we're back with on voiceitradio.com headlines and eggs with Miss Petey Talley. Unfortunately, last part of you guys are listening via Zoom out there in Voice It Radio land. People have always, the little bugs try to get in when the positive message is going on. So we're not gonna have that this time. My Wi-Fi, everybody, stuff is up, but sometimes it is what it is. But
Right. They tried it, didn't they, Larry? They tried it, didn't they?
they tried it. You can try it, but it's not gonna work. So, especially now on my watch. So the thing about it is that you are trying to get people out to vote no matter what party affiliation they are. I mean, there's been a lot of hot topics like Roe versus Wade, voting rights, other things. There's a big topic is Roe versus Wade, and other rights, in our gun rights and things of that nature. So no matter what, so you just want people to participate, no matter if they're for or against, correct?
I think one of the things is that in this election is more.
Hello? Okay, so we're just communicating everything. Usually happens, but so hello? 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 Hello?
Yeah, Larry, can you hear me?
Yes, I
I'm
can hear you
here.
now.
Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes.
So this
You might want to stay in one, try at least to stay in one place. I don't know if hello? Okay, so, just talking about that, the thing about it is that it's the www.readytovote, ready.vote, for the get out, GTOV, get out to vote, at the Atlas Theater tomorrow doors open at 6:30 all the way until 10 o'clock. It's free if you just register on there to get out to vote for the event tomorrow. They're at the Atlas Theater over here on Shaker Square. Pretty much I'm right down the street from it. So, you're Miss Tally.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, just
I'm here.
recapping the event. So, like I said before, we have a lot of hot topics that are in the election and a lot of people who are for or against some things. What are your feelings about people because they don't know what to do staying at home?
Right. I think people should understand that our rights, our freedom, they're under attack in this election. They've been under attack for a while. You alluded to Roe v. Wade.
Right.
Redistricting was an issue. A little bit more power got taken away from some people and given to others.
Right.
We have to come out if we want to ensure our voices in our democracy. If we believe in democracy and we want to ensure that this country is more fair, then we have to make sure that we're coming out and participating. We already know the struggle of Black people in this country. And for us to sit at home and not participate, and we clearly see the attacks happening in real time, that shame on us if we do that. We cannot afford to do that. We won't have anything. There are forces that are intent on making sure that women don't have control over their bodies. They're trying to, they're not doing anything about Black people being killed by police officers.
Right.
We've got to make sure that this is about policy, folks. This is about people determining what the rules are through public policy. And so elected officials are the ones that are doing that. And we got to make sure that we're coming out and at least having a say about who those people are that we want to represent us.
Exactly. So when you talk to somebody, what is the biggest question that you ask them when you're talking to a registered voter or somebody that needs to re-register?
I remind them that in 2020, voters went out in record numbers and voted in that election. And for Black women, we wanted certain things to take place. We wanted to see a Black woman elected to the United States Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
And so Black women going out and voting in mass our voice helped to elect a candidate who actually delivered, who said that promised Black women that if elected, they would put or nominate a Black woman to be on the Supreme Court. That person that got elected based on the promise did what he said he would do. And so I remind people that when you weigh into the electoral process and you vote for people based on the commitment that they share, that they articulate to you that they will do if elected to office, that's what voting is all about. It's the power that you have to be able to determine winners and losers based on the issues that you care about. And just, I try to remind people that they're more powerful than they realize. And that staying on the sidelines means that you're giving permission, you're giving your power to somebody else to decide. So really, it's really helping people to understand, helping voters to understand their power and convincing them that it's worth going to the polls and leaning in and putting it on the table about who you think is best, who will best represent your interests.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. So very, very understandable. So, you know, with the power vote, we had the first African-American woman vice president.
Vice president.
Yeah, so you have the first African-American woman Supreme Court justice. And, you know, and I think that, you know, a lot of people, you know, especially African-American women have participated in the process. What about African-American men? You know, because, you know, just saying young African-American men, because I think that, you know, African-American women, African-American men, you know, they feel like they're on the bottom of the total pole. So what do you say to young African-American women and young African-American men, you know, voting ages and up, like ages 18 to 25?
Right. So, yeah, so African-American men, 18 to 25, there may be some of your listeners who have student loan debt, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
This particular president that's in office right now has agreed to forgive $10,000 worth of student loan debt and $20,000 if you have a Pell Grant. That's significant for young African-American men if they are out there dealing with any kind of student loan debt. Additionally, some of the Build Back Better policies, the infrastructure bill, the CHIP Act, these are all bills that are going to create jobs, good paying jobs for those young men who don't, you know, are not going to work in a fast food restaurant, right?
Right.
And so that's what it means to go out and vote for a candidate who prioritizes an issue that you care about. And we said we want to get jobs. And these bills, these infrastructure bills and Build Back Better bill, they're designed to jumpstart manufacturing, jumpstart, you know, chip, building smart cars, building things again. And I think that is going to be beneficial to many of our Black young men and old men too, middle-aged men as well. So they like economic issues. And so these economic issues are going to definitely benefit the voters, that if they continue to lean in on election, they're going to continue to see, you know, a return on their vote.
Right. I think that's what everybody wants. It's like, if I'm investing my time, especially now after the pandemic, you know, like the economics, everybody want to see, you know, after things were given, like stimulus checks, the unemployment rate with the extra money per week, they see that America has the capacity to take care of its people when it's down. But now that it's up, it seems like everything, you know, let's go back to normal with the low wages. And a lot of people are refusing to go back to that. You know, what about those people who see, you know, it going back to the same old status quo where minorities are being ignored? What do you tell them?
Well, I think again, it has to do with leaning in. I think we just, you know, we have to continue to lean in. When we lean in, we get things. When we lean in, things change for us. When we lean in, you know, stuff happens. And so people have to continue to do that. When we're sitting complacent, not participating, not engaging, not paying attention, not raising our voice, not holding politicians accountable, we get what we get. And so we're getting crumbs, basically. So if we lean in a little bit more with our participation in the election process, I think that we will be able to hold people accountable to get the kinds of things that we need for our community. We're not going to get, nobody's going to hand us anything and just give us stuff. We have to make sure that we are participatory in processes that are designed to benefit people. And voting is one way of being able to do that.
Okay. So the question is that how can people either volunteer with your organization, or more or less, you know, people need jobs, and this sounds like something that would be interested in some people. How do people get hired through the organization? I know it's a nonprofit. How people get hired?
Right. So come out and volunteer with us. Sometimes we have opportunities where we're actually giving resources to people who come out and make phone calls or come out and canvass on doors. There are paid canvassing. There's paid phone banks in this work that we're doing. And people can get in touch with us by going to our website, www.ohiounitycoalition.org or ohiounity.org, or calling us on our 800 number, 888-614-0844. Those are ways that you can reach out to the Ohio Coalition on Black Civic Participation and get involved.
Okay. So again, what are those numbers? What is that number?
888-614-0844.
And then
And
the
website is www.ohiounitycoalition.org.
OhioUnityCoalition.org. Okay. So, and the thing about it is like the comedy show tomorrow, like you said,
Yes.
doors open at 6:30. It starts at 7 o'clock, gonna last until 10. What can people expect from these comedians that are going to be blazing the Atlas Theater?
Well, with Kim Coles, all I can say is woo, 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 woo. You know how she do, right? check it out, check it out.
Okay.
Michelle, the indie comedy mom, is so funny, and she is bringing some funny sisters with her to the show. She's bringing with her B Flat. She's bringing Aaron Jackson. She's bringing Vanessa Fraction. The doors open at 6:30. The show starts at 7 o'clock. Come out and learn about the power of your vote, the power of the ballot. It's an organizing weekend that we're kicking off with the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, Power of the Ballot Tour, starting in Cleveland, Ohio, and then moving across the battleground states for a weekend of organizing the power of our vote.
And if anybody doesn't know who Kim Coles in, she was St. Clair James on A Living Single with Cleveland's own John Hinton, who played her husband Overtil Wakefield Jones. So if you don't know who if you don't know who Kim Coles is,
you better ask somebody.
Exactly. We gotta go. So we thank you very much for your participation this evening, Ms. Talley. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow.
Okay.
At there, because I love me some Kim Coles. I love some St. Clair James. Is she bring the trolls with her? I'm just asking the question. You know, she had them trolls. I don't know if she's gonna bring the trolls.
I don't know who she's gonna have, but she's gonna be up in the house.
Right, exactly. If nobody tells you that they love you today, I do. Look us for us next week. I'll probably or the week after next, I have the fundraiser at Small Bites on the 13th, which is next Thursday. So I won't be in studio next week, but the week after, definitely I'll be in the house here on voiceofradio.com. Peace, love, and hair grease. And make sure y'all check it out tomorrow. Register on that website and make sure that y'all get y'all ticket. It's free. Free is always a plus, so it's free. And come out and support, especially Kim Coles, especially everybody in the house, and especially Ms. P.D. Talley. Ms. Talley, thank you very much for having me, for taking time out this evening on voiceofradio.com.